You're listening to RAP Paranormal and Friends with your hosts,
Kim Purvis
and Allison Robinson. Make sure to check us out on our Facebook pages, RAP Paranormal and Friends and RAP Paranormal Busters, for up-to-date show information and events. Hey everyone, welcome to another night of RAP Paranormal and Friends. We have a special guest for you tonight. We have Carmen Turner Schott. She is the author of, oh my gosh, Brain Freeze. I just had Phoenixes and Angels. Oh my gosh, I just totally had a...
No worries.
I've been
Phoenix
running.
Angels.
Yes, Phoenix and Angels, mastering the 8th and 12th. Astrological houses. I just, oh my gosh, I don't know why.
No worries.
But anyways, welcome to the show. Now, not only have you written this book, though, you're a licensed clinical social worker, correct?
Yes.
Yes, astrologer, writer, teacher, etc. So, how did you get into astrology?
Yeah, so I'm sporting my Supernatural T-shirt.
Sure.
Yes,
Favorite
shows, one of my favorite shows, Sam and Dean.
Yeah.
I got into astrology when I was 16, and how it all happened was I just was born different, and I was very intuitive. I was afraid of the dark. I had all of these experiences that I couldn't explain. Mm-hmm. And my parents, nobody really believed me. They'd say, oh, it's your imagination, go back to sleep, And when I was 16 one night, my mother was used to me waking her up from dreams and nightmares. And I used to sleepwalk when I was young, apparently, all these crazy things. And one night I came back from a basketball game. I had played basketball in high school and came back, and I always had to have my bed facing the door with the door open and a nightlight on, right? And our house, because I couldn't sleep in the dark in the house I grew up in. I always felt like there was something in that house. I think it was the land or whatever, because once they moved out years later, I could sleep with the door shut, no lie, it was fine. Right. But it was something about that house. But I always had to have the door open, the nightlight on, and my mother's room and my dad's room is right across the hall. Mm-hmm. I remember my brother and dad were on a fishing trip, and my mother and I were home alone. So I go to bed like normal. I wake up in the middle of the night, and I look to my doorway, and there was a glowing ball of light about this, like an orb in my doorway.
Oh, wow.
It was translucent, watery. Mm-hmm. It was bigger than a softball, not quite as big as a volleyball, and it was floating there. Well, when I tried to yell, I had no voice. I tried to move, I was frozen. So it froze me. I couldn't speak. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. All I had control of was my mind. And I remember thinking, please don't have it come in my room. Please don't have it come in my room.
No, yeah.
And at the time, I hit myself now that I'm older, but at 16, I was scared shitless, right? Because it was,
yeah.
Is it an alien? What the hell is it?
Right.
And so I laid there for hours watching this thing, and it never came in my room because I had control of my thoughts. And it did not come in, and it would go down the hall, come right back and float right on my doorsill.
Oh my gosh.
And finally, after hours of seeing this thing, it's like it released me, and I was able to scream out for my mother. And I yelled, Mom, do you see what's in my doorway? And she says, yes. She saw it too.
Oh, wow.
I finally had a witness to my supernatural,
oh my gosh,
strange experiences, right, as a kid. So she yelled back and forth with me. I said, what is it? She goes, maybe it's a lightning bug, being a skeptic.
Yeah.
Maybe shining a flashlight in. I'm like, no, it's huge, right? And so I'm like, no, get up and see. She didn't get up. She said, just go back to sleep. And I tell you what, I laid there for hours, and I think I really passed out from exhaustion. And the next morning, we were in the kitchen, and she said, that was not a lightning bug. I don't know what that was. And she was a little bit afraid.
Oh, wow.
And after that, I got obsessed with studying angels and the pyramids and religion and all these different things. And I was buying all these books, studying all these things about orbs and angels, spirit guides, and everything. And my mother's friend at work was into this thing called Eckankar, which I think was kind of like a spiritual group. And she had a book about spirit guides, and she loaned it to my mother, because she told her at work what we saw. And I read that, and then I came to St. Louis, Missouri on a weekend, and I went to this little bookstore that's still here, and I still do astrology consults and book signings there. It's called Mystic Valley. It's an amazing bookstore. And I went in there and got my first astrology book. When I read about my sign, I was 16, going on 17, it validated all of these strange, mysterious experiences that I had that no one could explain to me. And I got obsessed. I started learning astrology. Back in those days, we used to do the charts by hand. We didn't have computers, so it was a wheel. I would draw the aspects.
Oh my gosh.
Old school, right?
Yeah. Oh no.
So old now. I'm only 47, but shoot, back in, what was it, 1993, 1994? Crazy. And did it by hand, made a friend there at the bookstore. And I ended up going to college in St. Louis, started doing consults when I was 19, just for fun, to practice. And I just realized that it was such a deep tool. And everyone was like, oh my God, how do you know that? I'm like, it's your chart. It's your chart. And I always was intuitive, but I kind of used astrology, I guess, to sort of hide behind in a way, because when it was my intuition, I would doubt myself. I was born with that, but I used the chart. That was my way, because it was a science to me. It was a tool. And so everybody loved it, and they're wanting to pay me. And I'm like, no. And I started taking donations. I didn't charge for many years. And I ended up starting my own business, around 19. Oh, wow. And I've been a normal social worker in the real world all these years, for 25 years, working with trauma survivors, runaway teens, adoption preservation, working in the family advocacy, domestic violence, sexual assault prevention, all kinds of stuff. But I've always had my side business. So I've always been a psychological astrologer. Oh, wow. And I would write articles and stuff like that, which is what kind of spurred my books, a lot of books. And then my most recent book, Phoenixes and Angels, is based on 25 years of research. So I would love to, we can talk about it, what's what it all means. But that's my passion, is the 8th and 12th houses in astrology, because I started realizing that people that are like me and that have these unexplained experiences, I'm not alone. I'm just one of thousands and probably millions, but they usually have planets in the 8th and 12th house, like I did. I saw these patterns, and I'm like, okay, you're a 12th house, you're an 8th houser. This is what, and I started telling them, like, yes, that happened to me. And I started collecting research, and that's kind of how I started writing my books. Oh, wow. Nice.
Now, can you tell us just a little bit about your new book, Phoenix and Angels?
Yeah. Phoenixes and Angels. It's one of my favorites, because back when Facebook was brand new, I started two of the oldest astrology groups on Facebook, the 12th Astrological House, the 8th Astrological House, Deep Soul Divers. And I started those astrology groups back when Facebook first started. And I've had members all these years, about 15,000 people in each group. And I don't let everybody in, you got to answer the questions. And there's been a lot of people get blocked, social media.
Right. Yeah. You never know what you're going to get on that anymore.
I got some enemies out there, that they got blocked because they got reported. I'm sorry, but I wanted to create a very, like a support group atmosphere. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard. It was really hard to be an admin. It still is, of these groups, because there's so many people and people report, and you've got to be fair, and everything. So I've added some moderators to help me now and stuff like that. But I've kept these groups all these years, and that's how I started collecting stories from people. And they would write me about my articles that I would post in the groups or on my website. And I started collecting their stories. And I thought, I want to write a book about both of these houses together, because I have books about the 8th house and the 12th house that are standalone books that are out there on Amazon. But I wanted to put them together because there's a connection between the 8th and 12th houses in a birth chart, because those are the two most mystical, spiritual houses in astrology, 8th and the 12th. And what I started realizing is that 8th house people have these certain experiences and certain similarities, and I call them phoenixes. And then 12th house people, same thing. They have these experiences, these similarities, and I call them angels. And what makes someone, they always ask me, what makes someone a phoenix or an angel?
Right.
So there's a couple. So to be a phoenix, you need the sun, moon, 3 or more planets in the 8th or 8th house, or a lot of Scorpio. If you've got a Scorpio sun, a Scorpio moon, strong Pluto in your birth chart, you could be a phoenix. You could be what I call an 8th houser. Your south node might be in Scorpio. It might be in the 8th house. Then you're a phoenix. Okay. If you're a 12th houser, an angel, those are individuals that have the sun or moon in the 12th house of the birth chart, or 3 or more planets in that area, or a lot of Pisces energy. Okay, sun, moon, and Pisces.
Kim's waving her hand over there.
Angel, all right, and or Neptune, right, in the 12th house. And I started, south node Pisces, north node, Virgo, things like that. And you have a Pisces nature, which makes you an angel. And the theories, the research I started was based on my own experience, because I am an 8th and 12th houser. I'm a phoenix and an angel. I have a lot of planets in both these houses, which is why astrology validated why I was so different than everyone in my family, why I was, the way I was. Because, even now in my life, I'm the oddball. Right? A lot of people, I'm meeting people through shows like this, and we're connected, like we're
brothers
and sisters here. But in my real world, I'm very isolated. I'm kind of just doing our thing, right? And you might have a couple friends or people that are, intrigued or interested, but you can't talk to them deeply about this stuff unless they've studied it, right? Unless they know.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it can be a little lonely. But, I connect with clients from all over the world, and that's why I don't feel lonely, actually, because I get to hear and help them. And I get on Zoom, I get to see them, from all over different countries, different parts of the world. And they found my groups, they found my books, and they want me to do their birth charts. So I do. And I teach classes in the 8th and 12th houses. I teach basic astrology, but the thing about the 12th house and 8th house, we can talk a lot about it, what the patterns are that I've seen, you want me to talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, go for it.
So the 12th house, let's start there. The 12th house is the house of mysticism. It's the house of the conscious mind, the subconscious levels of mind. It's the house of dreams, sleep, escapism, oneness with God, connecting to a higher power, right? Ghost, angels, loneliness, suffering, service to others, all mystical experiences, imagination, idealism, all of these, romanticism. Okay. All of these Pisces, if you read about the sign Pisces rules the 12th house. So all of those energies are in that area of life. And in astrology, we call the houses, there's 12 houses. And what it is astrologers, when you're born, the moment, time, place of birth, date, year, everything, we take a picture of the sky when you're born and we put it on a piece of paper. And we break it into 12 sections. The sky, 12 sections, those are the 12 houses. Those houses we call are really areas of life. And so there's 12 areas of life that are all important. I just focus my research on the 12th and 8th, and because of the spiritual houses. So the 12th, when you have planets there, a couple things that happen. Number one, you always feel different and like you're an alien. I've been interviewing people. I'll pick 50 random people to send me their chart.
Yeah.
And if you got the sun, moon, or 3 or more planets there, send me your chart, right? Or if you're a Pisces, sun, moon, etc. And I look at these charts and I ask them 5 questions.
Right.
Out of 50 charts, 49 out of 50 people tell me, yes, I have all 5 patterns.
Oh, wow.
And it's now I'm researching this. Now I'm actually doing scientific data and articles for like astrological magazines, right, that are research based. So one of the patterns is they always feel like they're not from the family they're born in. And they always feel like they're so different. Like, am I adopted? They ask their parents this. They tell me this all the time. And it's because they are different. They're intuitive. They're born empaths. So being empathic, just like Pisces, they absorb other people's energy. They feel people's pain. They feel what's going on around them in the environment, right? This energy, right? They're very sensitive, very, very kind and sensitive, compassionate people. They want to help people. But the problem is this. They lack boundaries between themselves and others. That's the other pattern. So guess what? They get taken advantage of. They get used. They attract narcissists.
This sounds like me.
Yeah, I used to do that in the old days. Been there, done that, learned that, right? I got heartbroken, thought I'd never survive, look at crying my eyes out. Yeah, I got over that, right? That's 12th house. Secret love affairs. That's another pattern. Romanticism. Idealism. So what 12th house people do is they see people as they want them to be, not as they really are. They see everyone with rose-colored glasses. They think everyone's like them. Then they get hurt real bad sometime in their life. And then they realize, wait a minute, I'm like, no one's like me. Like, are they different than me? I would never treat someone like that. Right. And that is because this house is meant to test us, the 12th house, to make us seek the purpose of life. Why am I here? I'm a soul. I'm not just here to eat, sleep, work, die. Right. Yeah. So when you have planets here and a lot of Pisces, you have to go through some heartache. And you got to go through some tough experiences. And it usually involves love, and relationships. Another pattern that I see is there's often a missing or absent parent. The mother or father is often not a connection. Now, they could be physically absent, like you never knew them, or parental divorce, or they're in the home and you're with them, but you never had a bond with them. It was like they were emotionally distant, physically distant. They traveled a lot. Maybe they were a truck driver. There was something that you felt like you were missing a parent. All of them tell me this. I've been probably 99.9% of people that have this, right? Yeah. And the reason is because that's one of the patterns. And another pattern is psychic dreams. This is the house of dreaming. So people that have planets there, a lot of Pisces, often at some time in their life tell me that they dreamed of the future. They dreamed of something that happened. Yeah. And they knew it was going to happen.
I get a lot of that. I call it deja vu, but I don't know. Like, I feel like it's something that's already, but then it happens in real life, like a few days later or weeks or months later. Yeah.
That's psychic dreams. That's clairvoyance, which is what 12th house people are born with too. That's one of the patterns. Feeling different, psychic dreams, empathy, lack of boundaries, secret love, hidden love affairs. Because 12th house people, they tend to hide behind the scenes. They have to have solitude. They have to have time alone. They love to be by themselves. And they can go out in the world and have friends, but they like their alone time because that's how they recover. And they like to escape from the stress of the real world. But guess what? We're in the world. So this is why I call them angels. I call them fallen angels. Actually, I have a book called The Mysteries of the 12th Astrological House, Fallen Angels. And that was the first book I published with John Hunt last summer. And this one is part 2.
Yes.
But the 12th house, the reason I call them fallen angels is because, like I talked about, they feel like I don't belong here. Like they know inside their soul they're not from Earth. And it's so hard to explain this to someone that isn't a 12th house or 8th house or 12th people get this. I mean, they're like, yeah, that's my life. Oh my God, it's like you're talking, in my head. I'm like, well, it's because you have this placement in the 12th or 8th, or you're a Pisces rising, you're Pisces South Node in the 12th, or whatever. And I can see it in a chart, and it's so cool because when I do these shows, I don't know anything about you, right? I mean, I'll ask, to see your chart later or something, or even live. Some people have me do their chart live. And I'm like, oh my God. you know, this is part of your destiny. So it can show out right in the chart. It definitely can. And so 12th house people, it reminds me of the movie City of Angels with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, yeah, I like that movie.
You know, he was an angel. And he never wore the black trench coat, you know, and all that.
Right, yes.
And all the angels. And then he wanted to be human. And why? Why did he want to be human? Because he was in love. He fell in love with the person. Maybe love.
Yep.
So this is the house of unconditional love. This is the house where we have karma when it has to do with love and life and relationships. Because what better way to learn than to get your heart broke? Because if 12th house people are meant to seek a spiritual path, if your life was perfect and you never suffered and you never had your heart broke, you would not seek or wonder, what the hell am I doing here? Right.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So that's why it happens. And I had to learn that the hard way. And now I know, and now I help other people and I do videos about this stuff. Right. But it was hard. And I lived through a lot of these things that I talk about in the book, Phoenixes and Angels. I experienced it myself, and no one could help me. I mean, I'm a counselor. I had to learn these lessons and guess what happens if you don't learn the lessons? You keep repeating the same patterns.
Yep. And
so what I used to do is I kept attracting people that were emotionally unavailable or that didn't treat me right. But I worshiped them and I put them on a pedestal. And guess what? I also sacrificed myself for others. That's a 12th house thing. 12th house, there's Pisces too. They sacrifice themselves. So the 12th house, you have to love yourself truly. And you have to realize something at a young age. And I try to catch people when they're young to tell them this, so they don't have to go through all the things that we went through. What we have to learn is that no human being can ever love us the love we're seeking. No human being is able to fulfill us.
Right.
But we think other people can fulfill us. These relationships, oh my God, it's a soulmate, it's a twin flame. I mean, you would imagine all these things I used to hear. When I was born, I don't know why, but I always believed in a soulmate. And it was the thing that got me hurt the worst.
Oh yeah.
It was like a death when I had that happen.
You know what I told my mom when I was growing up is, okay, I don't know, I was probably like 4 or something. I told my mom that I was going to have 2 sets of twins and then 1 other kid. I was going to work at McDonald's at the drive-thru, and I was going to work at Bonanza at the salad bar, and I didn't need no stinking man.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You know, so I grew up thinking that I don't need no man to, like, you know, I'm going to do it on my own. Like, I'm going to be independent.
I would love to see your chart, dude. Listen, I see your shirt. You got a very 8th house shirt on. Now let's go into the 8th house. Death, the house of death. Grave, tombstones, rebirth, transformation, loss, healing. All of the deep, dark, taboo things in the world that no one wants to talk about is the 8th house. And that's Scorpio energy. So I would bet somewhere in your chart, what you just said to me is a Scorpio 8th house comment.
You know, last year we had a gal on. She did my chart, but do you think I can remember everything she said? She didn't physically send it to me. She did it during, she did it and then she said it through the show, but I can't remember everything she said. Her name was Allura, but I can't remember. But I just know, like, I had a whole bunch of stuff going on. Like, it was like a hot mess, but I don't exactly remember everything that she said, but yeah.
Your little soul brought it forward. So you got a totally 8th house shirt on right now and a Scorpio shirt. So I gotta look and see what you can email me after. I want to see what your chart is. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, sure. What do I need to send you for that?
Yeah, I just need your date of birth and year, month, day, year, exact time, AM or PM is very important, and city, state, country.
Okay, sure. Perfect. Yeah, I can do that. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what she asked for too. But I like I said, she didn't send me a hard copy, so I don't remember. But
sure.
Yeah.
So let's get into the 8th house a little bit, because the 8th house is the taboo house. So the 8th house is about spirits, ghosts, the dead, being connected to death is one of the patterns that eighth house people and Scorpio people have. And from a young age, and what I experienced, I lost my friend at age 16 from an accidental shooting. So that changed my life. And so when I started reading about the eighth house back in the 90s, there were no books about it. I mean, it was all scary. Like all of the astrology books I read were like, death, and you're going to go through these transformations and change and all this loss and all this grief, right? No, the eighth house is the most resilient house in astrology, in my opinion, because you do go through death and rebirths. You go through these transformations emotionally, physically, mentally throughout your entire life. Sometimes it's triggered by loss, losing a loved one, which happened to me. A lot of people have lost a parent, a sibling, someone very close to them at a young age. Almost, if I did 100 charts, I'd say 98 of them have lost someone close to them at a young age. Right. That's just, that's eighth house energy. And it's the phoenix. You can see the phoenix painting back behind me. That was supposed to be the cover of my first book. And paint that. And in that picture is the phoenix rising up from the ashes. There's a tombstone that you can't see in the picture. And it has my friend's name on it. Oh, wow. And then there's a picture, then the Grim Reaper standing there in all black, with the skeleton holding the symbol of Pluto. Because that's all symbolic of the eighth house, because the eighth house is where people are scared to talk about shit. So death, sex, intimacy, loss, and when I was little, and eighth house people tell me this, they always wonder, where am I going to go when I die? I remember laying in bed thinking, what if I die? Where do I go? And I've had eighth house people tell me that they used to have dreams where they were being buried alive or in a coffin. I just interviewed a friend of mine who's an astrologer and on last week, and he's an eighth house sun. He said he had a dream when he was very young about his own grave. Oh, wow. This symbolism of death and rebirth is eighth house. And there's different things, being afraid of that there's people in your room or ghosts, things like that, because house people are sensitive to the other side, because it's the house of the astral. So like, the material realm, we're in the material realm, in the Kabbalah, we're in Malkuth, which is the lowest realm on the tree of life, right? And right above us, like a veil, is the astral realm. And that's why eighth house people and 12th house people, but specifically eighth, will wake up and see someone stand at the side of their bed, or they'll see something glowing, or an orb, or a ghost. Or their dream. Yeah. And what is that? Well, I believe, I don't judge people, because I've heard so many stories, and I know that I've experienced things, and because I've experienced these things, I believe. And I used to always say, if I see it, I'll believe it. I wasn't like completely open. I was born in the Midwest. Okay. I was raised Baptist. Okay. I was baptized in the water. Okay. And all of it. And I've always been very spiritual. I've always been more spiritual than religious, so to speak. And I've always just knew about things. Like, I just believed in astrology. I knew it was true. I knew it was a science. I knew that it was accurate. I love crystals. I love, Reiki. I'm a Reiki master. All these things that would be taboo. I was drawn to all these things. That's what 12th house people, they're into this stuff. They love these things. They want to learn about it. And so they love, supernatural, right? All these, show, right? That's my favorite show. And so, all these things, and it's because they're born with the gift of being very deep, intense people that see through the veil of illusion. So they're very perceptive and psychic and deep, and they don't like superficial stuff. Eighth house people, Scorpios as well, they don't like small talk. They like deep talk. They like to connect deeply, right? And it's the house of sexuality. So often there's some type of trauma when you have planets in the eighth house. This is from my research. I talk a little bit about it in here. I give some tips on how to heal, how to get centered in your body, how to do, mindfulness and grounding exercises and things like that to really move energy and heal, because we also absorb everybody else's trauma. Yeah. Because of the empathic ability. So sometimes we don't know if it's our trauma or someone else's trauma, and so we really have to be conscientious and self-care. And so I talk a little bit about self-care in the book as well, because no one taught me that. When I was growing, I learned all this in psychology and social work school about having boundaries and all this stuff. I never had boundaries. I was wide open when I was little, and even in high school. I was so sensitive, and I would get my feelings hurt so easily. I mean, if someone cried, I would cry.
Oh, okay. That's me. That's me.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it kills me. It kills me to see someone in pain. It hurts me physically. That's why I think I became a social worker. Yeah. I mean, I would be, and this is what 8th house people tell me too, right? That I would be in the grocery store and I would just be minding my own business on the aisle, quiet shopping, and people come up to me and tell me all these things. My husband just died. My child died. I mean, very serious things. And I would just listen. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then they'd have me talking for an hour in the aisle, right?
Right.
I never knew why I was this way. Like, why are people coming up to me?
Yeah.
This isn't normal. This is not
right. Yeah.
And when I learned astrology, I'm like, oh my God, it's because I'm an 8th houser and I'm a 12th houser. This is why. And it's our energy. It's energy. And that's what astrology is. It's energy, just like everything is. And so we have an energy that says, come to us for help. And it's like a sign on our back.
Right.
And the problem with this is, if we were never taught about boundaries and this self-care and how to take care of ourselves first and not to sacrifice, we tend to get used and feel very drained.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what happens, right? And I'm sure you do that. And you learn the hard way. And then, I got to say, I got a thicker skin than I used to. And it was hard for me to adapt and accept this new me. I call it the Carmen. When I died and was reborn several times, right?
Right.
And I remember one time, and this is a funny story, I have the North Node in Scorpio. So my soul mission is to be an 8th houser and be a Scorpio. And then I got the Moon, Chiron, Jupiter, part of Fortune on the 8th house, right? It's already had, but I remember I was going through a really hard time in my life, and I was rock bottom. I mean, I remember I went for a run, and I'm jogging, and I had my headphones on, and I had the tears coming down, right? And I just heard in my head, how else am I going to make you a Scorpio?
Yeah.
I just heard the word, how else are you ever going to learn to be a Scorpio? And I start laughing because it was so freaking true. Because if you don't lose things, if you don't have pain or loss or crisis or trauma in your life, and you have to overcome it and be resilient, you're never going to be a phoenix. A phoenix has to die and come born new out of the fire, right? And it hurts. It's painful. And it reminds me of a butterfly. I associate the 8th house with the life of a caterpillar and a butterfly, because when it's in the cocoon, man, it looks rough. It's like death. It's horrible.
Right.
But then look how beautiful it is when it comes out of that cocoon.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's 8th house energy. That's Scorpio energy. And I've always been good in a crisis. And I used to do crisis intervention, suicide hotlines, all this kind of stuff. And the adrenaline, I just knew what to say, or what it was crazy, because I was scared to death to get on the phone and answer these calls. I did that back in college and stuff. And I was able to help people, in the moment, in that crisis. And that's 8th house. 8th house people, survival instinct kicks in for 8th house people. They are survivors, because what helps them survive is their anger, because they get pissed off because it's Scorpio, right? It's like, I am not going to let this mother or whatever person kill me or get me down. You may be depressed and can't get out of bed for a little while. And eventually you will get angry and forget this, and you will get up and you will move on.
Right.
And that's the strength of an 8th house person. I mean, they go through dark times. I mean, they go through really hard times. A lot of them share these stories with me, and I'm like, my God, look at what you've been through, and look at how strong and how you're helping other people now, because it's the house of the wounded healer. You end up helping other people that have been through what you've been through. And that's why you're 8th houses are phoenixes. That's why I call them phoenixes, because they're healing. It's the house of healing. It is. It's not a bad house. No, there's a lot of very intense things that go with the 8th and 12th house. A very, very mystical, very can be dark. The shadow self. secrets and hidden things rule both these houses.
Right.
And the thing with secrets is 8th house secrets, we know. It's like 8th house people can see and know the truth. And so we know people are keeping secrets from us, but we know it. We're like detectives.
Yeah.
We got like a raise, like
that's gotta
people
be
that
Chloe.
Yeah.
My
right,
daughter.
it probably is.
My daughter's like that.
Like they're into, solving crimes, catching criminals, people's personalities, psychologists, analyzing people. This is all 8th house stuff, right? Also, it's the house of business and people managing other people's money, inheritance. So there's some other things with the 8th house, not just death and rebirth, but there's a lot of really important things that rule this area of life. And so having planets there is very important, and having a lot of Scorpio. But even if you don't have planets in the 8th or 12th, I always tell people, we always want to look at what sign is on the cusp of the 8th house and what sign is on the cusp of the 12th, because that energy is still going to affect you. Everyone has a 12th house. You may just not have any karmic issues there, because you don't have a planet or whatever, but you're still going to have learning. And, for me, I got Aries on that house, and I just happen to have planets there. But if you don't, what we look at is looking at the 8th house, you can also see how you might die, how your ending will be in life. Sign is on, show a lot of, give you a warning, be careful. So for me, I know I need to.
Oh, you're cutting out a little
because
bit.
Aries is prone to accidents. Okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah, Aries is prone to accidents and stuff like that.
Okay.
But Capricorn, like the 8th, they typically live a long life, a very long life, and die of natural causes, like go to sleep. So there's a whole thing you can study, which I don't get into it because I don't like to scare people, but it's death astrology. I mean, it's a whole thing.
Wow. Okay.
You can look at death charts. I mean, I've had people ask me to look at charts of people that have died and look at the moment they died and what happened, like tragic accidents. And I've only done that maybe twice ever for parents who lost a child. And I looked at it and there would either a medication mix up or it was an accident. It wasn't their time. But I don't get into that. I've had people ask me. I don't feel comfortable really getting into that part of a show.
Right.
But it's a whole thing. I mean, there's people that specialize in, I'm sure. But no, I love the 8th and 12th houses because, I just want to tell people, they're not alone. There's a reason they have these mystical spiritual experiences and these really intense experiences. A lot of 12th house people are lucid dreamers. They wake up in their dream and they realize they're awake, and they can control their dreams. Some of them, I remember there was a little boy I worked with. My God, it was years ago, back in early 2000s. It was a friend of mine's, had a friend from work, had a friend whose son was seeing a ghost in his room, seeing a man. He kept saying it was a bad man. And so they wanted me to come over to the house, and I went in and I looked at his chart. This little guy had a stellium in the 8th house, all in Scorpio. He was drawing tombstones and cemeteries and all this stuff. His mother was so scared. He was only like 9.
Oh, wow.
And he come to find out who he was seeing. The man he was seeing was her father, who had passed away when he was a baby.
Oh, wow.
He had never known his grandfather. And he was seeing his grandfather, but his mother, the psychologist, no one could help him. I mean, of course, they just want to put somebody on medication.
Right.
And I believe that there's more to life than that. I mean, I believe that there's sometimes medication might be needed. Sometimes there is I believe spiritual beings are some things that cannot be explained. Right.
Right.
So I'm very open-minded. But I always have done both jobs, right? My normal job and then my.
Right. Yeah.
But,
oh. Cut out. Yeah. Oh, you cut out. You're frozen.
There you are. Yeah,
there you go.
Out.
Okay. It's like you kind of froze there for a minute, so I didn't hear the last.
Yeah, you're really green. I can't see you really well. Yeah, I hope the connection's okay.
It is now. Yeah, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, you were just kind of frozen in time, and I was like, I don't know what she just said, but now, you have other books out. You have one that's previous to this. Do you have anything else in the works, or do you have any?
Yeah, I got it. I have The Mysteries of the 12th Astrological House, Fallen Angels, and it's with John Hunt. Now they're called Collective Inc. with Gavin. Gavin's
Yes.
my publicist.
Yes.
And then Phoenixes and Angels, and then I have Sun Signs Houses and Healing and Moon Signs Houses and Healing that are out from a different publisher. They came out the last 2 years, and then I have a couple self-published books out there.
Oh, wow.
One on the eighth house. I self-published my first book,
Mm-hmm.
which was a deeper look at the sun signs. It was just a series of articles I wrote about each sun sign for fun. I self-published a little book. It's on Kindle.
Okay.
And
nice.
then I self-published The Mysteries of the Eighth House Phoenix Rising. That's a book that I published in 2010.
Okay. Wow.
So it's been out quite a while. And it's on Amazon. And then I wrote a series of articles because I'm really interested in astrotheology and astrology in the Bible. And I wrote some articles for about.com years ago. They asked me to write some articles about astrology and Christianity.
Oh, wow.
And I did. And I put them all in a little Kindle book called Astrology from a Christian Perspective. It's like a little $5 book. I don't even know. I put on Kindle. So it's out there, and people have found it. I don't market it that often, but then I got a little Kindle book about astrology awareness, which is just some articles that I've wrote throughout the years. I put them in a Kindle book. But I do have a new book coming out with my astrologer friend who's an eighth houser, Bernie. His name's Bernie Ashman. We have a book coming out with Collective Inc. Next summer, and it's called Astrology's Magical Nodes of the Moon. It's about the north and south nodes, which is our soul mission and our past lives.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that book is already written, and we just got a publishing date. It's going to release next July.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So hopefully I can come back on and Bernie, talk about the past lives and the nodes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would like that for sure. I was just looking to see. I don't see that we have any questions yet in here. They just said that they're really listening into this right now. So, but we do have people in chat. But yeah, they're like, I don't know. We're just really listening in. So yeah.
Yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I can always. Everybody can go to my website, CarmenTurnerSchott.com, SCHOTT, and you can sign up for my newsletter, and I will email you a free birth wheel and little report about your personality.
Oh, wow. Nice. Okay.
It's something that I'm offering. If you go to my website, a pop-up will come up, and you can put your info in and everything. But, for those that don't know what a birth chart is, I guess I didn't really get into that.
No, you didn't. Yeah. If you want to kind of give a little bit of that. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. So if you're looking up at Earth on the date, month, and year of your birth, exact time and place, all of the planets were in a certain star constellation, which we call the signs. There's 12 signs in the zodiac, and we're on the ecliptic. It's like a circle that goes around, right? And if you're looking up at the sky, all of those planets are in a certain star constellation when you're born, and they're in a certain area of the sky, which we break into sections, 12 sections like a pie. That's how you remember. And we take a picture and we put it on a piece of paper, and it's a wheel, and it has 12. It'll have 12 numbers, 12 houses. It looks like a pie, and then it's all symbols. So you can get my sun signs and moon signs book. You can go to astro.com. You can do a Google and look up what all these symbols are as well. And you'll be able to put your information in and get a free birth chart and see where all the planets were, what sign they were in, and what area of the sky they were in, which are houses. And that makes the map of your soul. That's what the birth chart is. It's a picture. It's a map of your soul. Your soul chose to come into this earth realm at that time, place, and date of birth to learn certain things, karmic lessons. So there's no chances. We got a north node, a south node, which is your soul mission, and what you learned before. Mercury is how you think. The sun is your main identity, your main personality. The moon is your emotional nature, your inner nature. All the planets rule different parts of your personality. It's just like a psychological tool. And I recommend everybody get their birth chart done at least once, so you understand it and know. And when people, my goal is to teach astrology on a very basic level. because I want people to like it as much as I do, and to know that it's such a powerful tool. Because I would do a chart on someone in 1 hour.
Yeah.
They would heal something that they had spent 8 years trying to heal in normal therapy. Just talk therapy doesn't work. You know, so that's why I use this as a tool, because it gets to the root of all of our issues, because it's the map of your soul. So you're like, how do you know this, Carmen? Because it's God created it. It's in the Bible. It's in ancient cultures. It goes to the beginning of time. It's energy. Astrology is energy, just like the full moon affects the tides of the ocean. Of course, the full moon affects our emotions as humans. Our body's made up of mostly water. So it's a science. So a lot of people shy away from it because it is a lot of symbols and stuff like that. But there's a lot of very basic wheels you can get that you can look and see, what's that little thing? Okay, that's the sun. That's Mercury. You know, you can look it up and start looking up stuff for fun. That's how I started. I didn't know what I was doing. I had to memorize all the symbols first and figure, okay, what sign is that? Okay, that's Aquarius. And I would write them over and over again. Now I look at a chart and it's all symbols and I know it, you know, but I spent 25 years studying this, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you can start, you know, everyone has something they're interested in. You know, it could be crystals, it could be Reiki, it could be, you know, tarot, whatever. For me, it was astrology. Astrology was my thing that I wanted to master, and I loved it. And I just read and studied and learned as much as I could about it.
Oh, nice.
And it's been my passion, and I live it. I live this stuff.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
can definitely, I can tell that this is something that you're very passionate about. So yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Before we wrap things up, once again, if you want to go ahead and just kind of give your social media, your website again, your book, where they can find them.
Sure. So Phoenixes and Angels, Mastering the 8th and 12th Houses. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, carmenturnerschott.com. And my books, I have a books page there. All my books are there, links to all the Amazons. On my Facebook pages, I have 2. One is Carmen Turner Schott Writer. Love for you to follow me and like me. And then I got Deep Soul Divers Astrology, Carmen Turner Schott. That's my business page. Love for you to follow me. Instagram, Carmen Turner Schott Author. I had 2 other Carmen Turner Author. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, I have a YouTube channel that I'm trying to build, and I've been putting a lot of my videos on there. It's Carmen Turner Schott. Yeah, just Carmen Turner Schott is my handle. And please subscribe and remember to put on the notifications, because I got a lot of subscribers, but I don't know if they're getting notified when I post videos. You know, there's always with social, you got to know all these algorithms and all this stuff.
I know.
It's crazy. And I do have a new show on BBS Radio, the 2nd and 4th Saturday every month, called Deep Soul Divers Astrology. And you can watch Facebook Live. I'll stream live, and then also I post the videos on my YouTube, and you can watch me talk about astrology. You can call in with your chart if you want to ask me a question live, and I have guests come on. BBS Radio TV. Yes.
Okay.
They have a Facebook page and a website, BBS Radio Deep Soul Divers Astrology, and you can go and find my page and call in numbers, all that, how to join live to call in with your astrology questions, or if you have any questions about your chart, I can pull it up live. And so that's 2nd and 4th Saturdays of every month. I just started that show like 2 weeks ago. And so yeah, I love teaching astrology, and that's kind of what I'm doing, and writing books, you know, it's my thing. So
yeah.
I'm happy you had me on. And
absolutely. Anytime. Yeah. If when your next book comes out, if you want to be on, and then I can't remember. I'm so bad at names.
Gavin.
No, well, Gavin. Yeah, he's your publisher, but you said you were writing the book with your other.
Oh yes, Bernie.
Bernie. I knew it started with a B, but I have terrible names.
And he's been an astrologer since the 1970s. He's got several books out as well. He's a published astrology author. He's wrote astrology programs for Dell, horoscope, you know, stuff like that. So him and he's been in my 8th house group for many years. That's how we met, and we decided to write this book together. So we're really, I've never wrote a book with anyone before, and it was awesome. So we can't wait for it to come out next summer. So But yeah, Phoenixes and Angels.
Yes.
If you do get it, love for you to rate it, review it for me on Amazon. All of that. And if you want an author copy from me directly, you can always contact me. I have a few author copies left as well that you could purchase. I can mail. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure having you on, Carmen. Please go check out her book, Phoenix and Angels. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere probably that you can find a book. Go out, find it, rate it. We will also put her social media, and I did put her website and things in the chat. So if you're listening, please check out the chat. You can get that information in our chat, and then we'll also post it on our social media as well. And thank you so much for being on. It was a pleasure talking to you, and can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Have a good weekend.
Yes, thank you. You too.
Thank you.